Sean Strickland versus Nassourdine Imavov just took place in the main event of UFC Fight Night Vegas 67, and Sean Strickland, on a couple of days' notice, steps in and beats Nassourdine Imavov, and it was a very good fight. I enjoyed it. It wasn't a crazy war or anything like that. It was just a pretty good, consistently entertaining 5-round battle that Strickland definitely should have won. There was a worry in my mind as the fight was going on that maybe there was going to be a robbery, because they showed the stats in the first, second, and third round, and they were just wrong. The stats were completely wrong. I believe at one point in the third round, they had the stats even between Strickland and Imavov, and I was thinking, oh my God, they're really going to rob Sean Strickland. There's no way he loses the third round. No way he loses the fourth round. And I thought he won the first round pretty clearly as well. Round 2 can go to Nassourdine Imavov. It was a very close round. And then round 5 was, of course, Nassourdine Imavov's round. But still competitive. But Sean Strickland, I think at that point, was actually gassing out himself. Even though Nassourdine Imavov started to gas out in round 3. It was like a sway of momentum in the later rounds, where the first 2 rounds it was pretty competitive, and then Imavov started to slow down in round 3 and 4, and Strickland started to get his own way and start to do really good. And then eventually in round 5, Strickland, after he had gained momentum, was kind of doing a little bit too much in rounds 3 and 4, and he started to slow down in round 5, and Imavov started to take over there as well. But yeah, Imavov did not do enough. I said that Imavov would catch Strickland with an elbow in the clinch, and man, in round 5, it looked like I was going to be right, because Imavov was landing a bunch of elbows in the clinch on Sean Strickland, and man, Strickland's got a chin, so this tells us a lot about Alex Pereira's power. I know Strickland didn't cut much weight, and hey, maybe if he did, it would have been a bit different, but if he did cut weight, it would have been on the full camp, and I was wrong. I picked Imavov to win, and I was wrong. I did say that on a full camp, Strickland would win this fight, but I did not expect Strickland to start taking over in rounds 3 and 4 the way he did, at the rate that he did as well, really piecing up Nassourdine Imavov when he had like a couple of days training for this fight, and he even said he's out of shape, and he looked out of shape. He didn't look in good shape whatsoever, and he said in the build-up, I'm out of shape. I haven't been training. I've been enjoying the time off over the holidays. I didn't think I was going to take this fight, but they offered me a bunch of money, and I said I couldn't turn it down. And he came in on a couple of days' notice of training and out-hustled a man who has been training for 12 weeks. Because MMA makes sense, and I'm wrong. And I was wrong to pick Imavov. I should have seen Imavov, the guy who's been training for this fight for 12 weeks long, getting out-hustled and cardioed by someone who's been training for a couple of days. My bad. But at the same time, Imavov looked basic as hell. Like, it wasn't just that. I'm not going to put it down all on that. It was barely that. So don't dislike the video and say I'm salty. I'll admit, Imavov looked terrible. Like, in all honesty, like, Sean Strickland is goofy and he has a goofy style, so there's always going to be some kind of, like, if you're a Sean Strickland fan and you want him to win and you've picked him to win, there's always going to be that kind of worry that you have, like, oh my God, is he going to get KO'd any second here because he's swinging punches like he's blind at the moment and stuff like that. But that's just the way Sean Strickland fights. But Nassourdine Imavov, I was expecting a bit of versatility from him. Like, where's the takedowns? He shot one takedown the whole fight and failed it, and then didn't shoot another one at all for the rest of the fight. Like, dude, you're Dagestani. Where's the takedowns, Nassourdine Imavov? Couple of takedowns, maybe. Sean Strickland had all of the control time against the cage, and also got a takedown of his own. Imavov popped right back up, but still. Like, it was interesting to see that Imavov basically is just a boxer. I don't know, he started boxing at 9, and he likes boxing, and his stand-up usually is pretty good. But I was surprised we didn't see more leg kicks from him. He did try a couple of them early on, but then he sort of gave up on that. Didn't really go to the body much with any kicks, no head kicks, nothing for Strickland to worry about, really. You know what I mean? Nothing at all for Strickland to worry about other than massive overhands. Like, early on in the fight, he was pretty much doing a couple of tapping leg kicks early on, and then just swinging massive haymakers going for a KO. It was like, dude, what is the game plan here? Let's wear him down. He's in on short notice. He's not conditioned. Let's go to the body. Let's go to the legs. But he didn't do enough of it. And actually, Strickland went to the body quite a bit in this fight. Pretty well. I know Imavov, some of his strikes did go to the body. I think they were a lot of knees in the clinch and stuff like that, and punches in the clinch to the body. But Strickland went to the body with teeps to the body at range, body kicks in general as well, and then he would throw punches off of them and catch Imavov. And at one point in round 3 and 4, he had Imavov rocked and hurt, and it looked like Imavov's nose was broken, and eventually he started to sort of wilt under pressure in those rounds. He came back in the 5th and made something happen and almost KO'd Strickland on a few occasions. But again, Strickland's chin held up. He had a bit of a weight advantage, not too much of a weight advantage to make that much of a difference, but you should have a training camp advantage. So that's what we should be talking about. I see people on Instagram saying stuff like, respect to Imavov fighting at a weight discrepancy. And I'm like, dude, what about the camp discrepancy? Strickland didn't have a training camp. He had 4 days notice. Imavov had 12 weeks. And he's probably in shape training before those 12 weeks as well, knowing that he has a big fight coming up. Like, crazy to me that he got out-hustled. So Strickland was the one who had to overcome stuff. Let's not start putting this on Imavov like, he overcame so much fighting Strickland on short notice and this type of stuff. I think Gastelum would have beaten this version of Imavov. He just didn't live up to my expectations, to be honest with you. I saw him beat Heinich, Shabazian, look great against all of them, and untouchable, and then he beat Joaquin Buckley, and he won the first 2 rounds, arguably won the 3rd, but started to slow down. I get it, he started to slow down, but a 3-round pace is a bit different, and the first 2 rounds of this fight, it's not like the pace was crazy. I know Strickland puts a lot of pressure on opponents, but it's not like the pace was anything too crazy. I mean, they landed 24-19 in the first, 22-22 in the second. We're not doing 50 shots around here. You know what I mean? So, yeah, very interesting. But Nassourdine Imavov kind of got exposed by Strickland, and Strickland proved that he is a top-level middleweight. And I want to see him versus Paulo Costa next, is all I'm going to say. I want to see him versus Paulo Costa next. That's what I want to see. I think that build-up would be so entertaining, and I think Paulo Costa would also see it as a winnable matchup for himself, because there's sort of this like illusion that Strickland is easy work, and I've fallen for it myself with my predictions, because I said he arguably could have beat Cannonier, and I said Cannonier was going to destroy him and finish him in the first 2 rounds. But yeah, I think there's this sort of illusion that a lot of these middleweights have that say, I can beat Strickland. Strickland's terrible. And then all of a sudden, he's outlanding you. He's pressuring you. You're starting to get a bit tired. He's annoying you with his teep. You know what I mean? And it gets a little bit overwhelming. But I say Strickland versus Costa, fight night main event, some point in April or May of 2023. I don't think Strickland needs too much time off. Maybe a little bit because, he took a little bit of damage. But I imagine they'll pay Paulo Costa a little bit more. Or Paulo Costa will sort of like weigh up the odds and say, I don't want a new contract. I'm going to fight out this current contract, which has 1 fight left. But because I turned down Whittaker, I'll gamble this 1 fight left on Sean Strickland, and then I'll be in a position for a title elimination bout, and maybe then they'll pay me some money. Or maybe then I can start getting some sort of better offers outside the UFC because I'll be a free agent. So I think Paulo Costa's going to gamble the last fight on his contract on a fighter like Sean Strickland. And I think the build-up of Paulo Costa versus Sean Strickland would be absolutely amazing. So make that fight happen, because I need to see the press conference between them. Maybe even do it on a pay-per-view, to be honest with you. Maybe do it on a pay-per-view, because getting that press conference on a pay-per-view, that's worth the money for the pay-per-view. You don't even need... Imagine Paulo Costa and Sean Strickland at the same pay-per-view, with Adesanya Pereira 2 in the main event. You know? International Fight Week. Adesanya Pereira 2 in the main event. Whatever in the co-main event. Paulo Costa, Sean Strickland in the feature fight. At the same press conference. Sign me up, please. But yeah, I think that's the next fight for Strickland. We'll see if he gets a quick turnaround or anything like that. But that's a good win for him, and he got paid a lot of money, and I assume they got a fight of the night bonus. I'm not sure who got the bonuses yet on the card, but I think that should get fight of the night. I know they paid Strickland quite a bit of money, so maybe they might do like a bunch of performance bonuses instead. But I'm pretty sure that deserves a fight of the night bonus. If you give like a Umar Nurmagomedov performance bonus and then maybe give a Dan Ige a 50k bonus as well. Performance of the night, here we go. Oh, they gave out 4. They didn't give a fight of the night. Well, there we go. Dan Ige 50k, Roman Kopylov 50k, Umar Nurmagomedov 50k, and Alan Nascimento. So no fight of the night, but yeah, disappointing from Imavov in terms of a performance. I expected a lot better of him as a contender in the middleweight division, and now I'll sort of be hesitant over who I'm going to be picking him to beat in the future because he seemed very one-dimensional. Very one-dimensional. You know? He just didn't seem to set anything up, make Strickland pay. He just seemed to swing at overhands. Pretty much, right? Swing overhands at Strickland, who was just being very within himself and composed and was getting messy at times. Listen, there were opportunities for Nassourdine Imavov, and he had a bunch of opportunities in the 5th round and almost got a finish because Strickland was literally just running into him trying to get the clinch because I think Strickland started to gas out. But yeah, just swinging. Imavov just swinging overhands. Didn't see that coming from him, but he shat the bed a little bit. Good win from Sean Strickland. And Nassourdine Imavov, I guess, for him. I mean, Chris Curtis just got the game plan, right? So Chris Curtis might want that matchup. But maybe even rebook that Kelvin Gastelum fight. It depends how long Gastelum's going to be out. Give him that shot against Gastelum again, maybe right back into the rankings. And, yeah, we'll see what happens. I guess he has to move down the rankings a little bit now. But if Gastelum's going to be back in May, June, April, see if Imavov wants that fight again. Toodle pip. See you later. And I might pick Gastelum this time. I'll be honest. See you later. Goodbye.